Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians and your host, the Salon Vodova. And today I'm actually talking about one of the impactful tools that I have used in my life for like as longest as I remember, especially lately as a life coach, and that tool is journaling. And I know that you have probably so many amazing ways that you're doing it, or if you're struggling, that I will definitely give you some ideas. And I just wanted to share with you how I do it and how impactful it is in my own life. And I would love to recommend that you use that tool as well in the best way that can serve you. And I will talk about why uh, I think is amazing to use it. And also, I want to give you four different examples that I will like share my screen and show it to you so that you can actually read and see how are the ways that I tend to do and how are the ways that I have tried to do, like some of the questions that I get from my clients and how they could do it as well, right? So before diving in, I really want to get like clear as to why journaling is so amazing, and I use at least for three reasons. And I'm sure you can find on the internet so many other reasons for why doing it is amazing. So one is definitely that I want to use a pen and paper and dump all of my thoughts of what's going on every morning. That's what I usually do. And I'm going to show you my calendar, sorry, or the notebook, right, that um, I use. And this is like for every day. So this is a calendar basically for every day. I put in one page of every morning of all the thoughts that come up. I just put them because I would like to remember also what thoughts were governing me in that day, what feelings were governing me in that day. So that's why I love doing that. The other thing that I do is for all of my ideas, I use a separate notebook, even though I also use sometimes the Google Keep Notes, and I will show you in a minute how I do that. And I have another one. Uh, another one is this one is for when I like write down who I want to be in the process of doing all the things and how I'm able to do that or not. And I really like use this as a way of like the dream fairy of becoming the person that I really want. And it feels handy to be looking at it every time as to how I'm doing it. Now, there is another one, and you're going to think I'm very weird, but that's fine. I'm going to share anyway. This one, excuse me, is a result that or the evidence that I gather of all the things that I have created the way that I want to. For like this, I have started, I think, last year in February. So this is now February will be 1 year. So that's why I like to look at like big um, things that I have created, big achievements that I have created, being the person I want to. And I like gathering all of this into my notebook, and I love writing as well. So that's why I have basically four different ones. And then while I'm walking on the street doing my 10K, and if I have ideas, then I get with my pen and then start writing my ideas as well. So you can see that I am a very passionate writer of my thoughts, of studying myself, and obviously I do it as a profession as well, right? So therefore, I'm not suggesting that you do any of these things. I'm just suggesting that there are like so many ways that I can use this piece and paper of putting everything, like putting all of my thoughts onto a paper. And then the second reason why I do that is so that I can sort them out, have a clarity around them. And then the third reason is I can take in charge of them, meaning that I detach myself, or I really like look at what's going on, and then it helps me make decisions more as to what am I going to do move forward. right? So here are the examples that I wanted to use my beautiful Google Keep, which I love. Okay, so you can see this. So I have this Google Keep documents where I trace a lot of different things because I love them. I also love tracing evaluations and all of this, so you can see that. But the main thing that I really want to show here, no, okay. The main thing that I really want to show here is I want to share 4 different ways of journaling that I tend to use. I tend to do it myself on daily basis. And I wanted to just give examples of how I do that. And it doesn't need to be in any way like complicated. It's free flowing, whatever comes up to your mind, right? So that's why I really wanted to share with like 4 different ways that you can do it. You can use all of them or one of them, whichever feels good to you or whenever you need them. So first one is a general way of journaling that may be for some people what's going on in the day or what we have achieved in the day. That can be that type of journaling, or it can be like gratitude journaling of generally like what has happened in the day, or it can be also of everything, whatever comes up to your mind. That might be the purpose of general journaling. Then there is a specific topic, specific journaling, which I love as well, is where I put a situation or event or someone that I'm thinking about, and then I journal about that so that I can get all of this out of my chest and then start looking at what's happening, right? And then the third one that I love, which I have learned from my coach, Stacey Bayman, and she talks about intentional thought creation. And the way that I like to think about is like building evidence for whatever we're trying to achieve, or building evidence for whatever we're trying to make a decision. And it's very intentional in that direction, right? And the last one is that I use a lot in my work as a life coach is seeking my own answers. And the reason why I want to do that is so that I always give myself this feeling of I know I have wisdom about that topic that I can always access to and answer it. And I don't need to like search for other answers before I have my own answers. And that helps me really not only be humbled, but also trusting my answers and looking at my answers, looking at my truths of what's going on. And there, I would like to give you some prompts as well, and you can use those in your own journaling. So, as I said, there are no right or wrong ways to do it, obviously, right? But the purpose of it really, the way I love to do it is to get everything out of our chest, to look at them, sort things out, to make some decisions around them or around one thing, and then decide how to move forward, right? So let's look at the first one that I have just sampled it for you that I I did a bit similar today in my journaling here, but because I didn't really want to show you my handwriting, which is may not be easy to read, so that's why I typed it up here. So the way that I may usually start my general journaling is today I woke up at this hour and then I did my meditation. And then I usually check like still write about how I'm feeling, right? So I was feeling a bit tired, but then generally feeling good, and then I'm ready to start. I'm grateful for the gift I received. So it might be also a combination of yesterday and today. I feel calm and I feel focused. I shouldn't have watched XYZ. Excuse me, watched the Slow Horses episode with my husband one season in one evening, so that was a lot. And then I was supposed to meet someone yesterday, and that didn't happen. And I carved out my time for it, and I was pissed that it didn't happen. So now the next thing I'm going to do, then I just didn't want to type it up, right? So I'm going to do then I might say like, okay, what am I going to do about it specifically, right? So what am I going to do about um like watching one season's um this might not be really like important, but there might be other things that are important that I may make a decision around it. So for instance, if I notice that I keep like feeling self-pity, or I keep feeling like I keep beating myself up, for instance, right? So if I'm noticing myself do that, then I would say, what am I going to do next about it? And then I would say, okay, next time. So I might say next time when I feel self-pity about myself, here is how I'm going to talk to myself and then write them out. I will say, why am I being in self-pity? What am I not doing when I feel self-pity? Right, so you can see that I can get even into evaluation mode. I can also get into modeling mode. Modeling is, for me, I take, let's say, one feeling, and then, so for instance, so there is a model, by the way, for anyone who may not be familiar with that, I have learned from the life coach school, where there are circumstances around us, which are factual things, and then we have our perception or our reaction to it. And then those reactions then generate feelings within us, and then we do things or we don't do things, and then we create a specific result, right? So that's why if I were to, like, let's say that I don't tend to really have this self-pity often nowadays, but let's say this was in my journaling, right? So I feel self-pity, and let's say that this is a prominent thing around all my other things that I have written, then I might take that topic to look at closer, and then I may do even model around it. So I may say, okay, circumstance is maybe a particular task that I am supposed to do. And then my thought is, I don't know what my thought is, but I know what my feeling is, right? So my feeling is self-pity. And then I may even do like the actions of, okay, what do I do when I'm feeling self-pity? What am I not doing? Right? So, and then I may even like ask, why am I feeling self-pity? I shouldn't have to do this work by now. Maybe this is the reason why I'm feeling self-pity, or I should have known this by now, whatever it is, right? And I'm feeling sorry for myself. And then what do I usually do when I'm feeling sorry for myself? What are the things I'm not doing? And then what is the result I'm creating when I'm feeling sorry for myself? Result is probably I don't do the task, or I do it but with resentment, right? So this might be the more clarifying part of the journaling. So you can see that from the beginning, we have started with something very general. And then let's say that in the, like, it's like mundane things, and that's fine. So get everything out, flowing everything out onto the paper or onto the online version of it. And then you notice that one thing that may make you feel heavy, if you notice that, then you may look at that, because that's usually how I orient myself. And I say, okay, this is making me feel heavy, or I may even write things like, I feel heavy, right? And I may usually know what that is about, or I may not know. And if I don't know, then I will do the modeling like this, and I put the, like, in the feeling line, I put heavy, and then I start looking around, okay, why do I feel heavy? What are the situations around which I feel heavy? And then I start journaling. So the more I get clarity to myself about that situation, the more freeing I feel, and the more I feel like in charge of all of these feelings and thoughts that are going on. And because I have written all of them down, I don't need to remind or remember them all because I have it now on a paper, right? So that's one way of journaling, which I love doing. Excuse me, and I do it every day. And you choose whatever the frequency that you like doing for yourself, and then do it regularly that way. And I want to just, excuse me, suggest not to do it only when you're feeling heavy or when you're not feel like when you're feeling low, because one of my clients was telling me recently that she does it only when she's feeling low. And the reason why I suggest not to do that is because then we may start treating like the journaling as a way of only talking about heavy things or like things that are not going well. So, and our brains already are good at doing that, right? So therefore, it's better if you train your brain to both do the heavy part in the journaling as well as good things that are happening so that you can balance it within yourself. Now, another way of doing the journaling that I love is that it can be about specific topics. It can be about someone, the person that you're thinking about, whether something that happened with them in the conversation, like in my case, and it's what I was recently thinking about. And then, or it's about a situation that's coming up and you want to think about and all the things that come up. So about the person, I may usually put a name if I want to. I may not even put a name, but what I really want to get out is all of my judgments, all of my frustrations around that person. I want to get them out onto paper so that I can gain some overview over what's going on instead of just blaming the other person, because blaming the other person, I know my brain does so well, and I don't need to do that. Like I don't need to support my brain in that, right? So therefore, this is what I have written about someone that said something to me shocking on the phone, someone from my family member that I never expected that person would say it. And afterwards, I was writing a lot of these journaling. This is just a snippet of it, obviously, but there's so much more. And this is how I may just say things like, oh my God, I'm surprised, or I'm also pissed. How can she even say that? It's not her business. I'm glad that I said that you can't do this, that I'm glad that I made some boundaries, but at the same time, she at the same time that I'm just like, you can't do this. And then afterwards, after I calm myself down, then I may write things like, okay, what do I think about how I showed up? Right? What do I think about how I showed up in that conversation? In this case, I was glad that I put some boundaries with her. But also, I realized that maybe I was a bit rude, and I could have said things in a less direct way or in a less um, in a way that didn't exacerbate that conversation, right? So you can see that I have a bit like even more evaluation a bit going on, or the analysis going on, right? Which many of us, I think, naturally do that in our heads. But what I love about the idea of doing it on the paper is that once we get it off our chest and put it onto paper, then I really feel like I have showered my inner world, and I really feel like I'm not as affected by that situation as I was before writing it, right? So that's why it's even more reasons I think trying to journal it. So the other one that I was doing it just to give you an example of one of my clients who was like, I think last year when we were working on this, she was talking about public speaking and a lot of her thoughts around it. And if you are someone like her having a lot of thoughts about it, this might be a perfect way of journaling just to get everything out around a topic that you are fearful about, right? So it can be like public speaking, and then your thoughts might be, oh my God, it's so terrifying to do this. Everyone's going to judge me. I will lose all my words and not remember things. I will be so boring that everyone will fall asleep. I will feel terrible afterwards, right? And then looking at all of your thoughts, you might say, "Oh my God, I'm wonder, no wonder why I'm terrified because I have so many judgments about public speaking." And then once you get all of them out, then you can decide, okay, what am I going to do about this, right? So because if I keep thinking this way, I will definitely ensure that I will fail, and I don't want to do that, especially, excuse me, failing in advance. Therefore, what are the next things I'm going to do, right? How am I going to approach this? What am I going to do about it? What are the ways that I can solve for the problems that I see? And we can get into the solving of the things and make decisions to implement them, right? So this might be another way of doing journaling that might be very useful. I tend to do that about every topic that I can think of. I always think about what are the thoughts people may have about this topic, what are the thoughts I have about this topic, and why do I have these thoughts about, right? And then what am I going to do about it? So The the third one that I like, as I said, is the topic. Oh, sorry, the way of journaling that I have been practicing a lot more recently, which is building evidence journaling, right? And as I told you, I have this notebook that's actually very thin for my taste, but I write a little bit, but I always write all the ways that I have achieved the things that I wanted, or what are the decisions I'm about to make, and what do I know already about that decision and how I can actually make it work. This is the one that I have actually done it when I was transitioning, at least the gist of it, and I have typed it up here. And at the time when I was writing about what do I actually want to do I really want to transition? What does that even mean for me, right? I started writing about it, and I was also gathering evidence for how I could make it work. And here is how I have written it. I thought about, okay, I'm already good at surviving difficult situations, even war zones, and I have had the experience of in so many areas. I am passionate about the topic of becoming a life coach, right? That's where I wanted to transition. And I really believe that I could help more humanitarians and make more impact than the one that I felt like I was making at the time. I also wrote an evidence of I know I can do anything I want in life, even my brain wants to stop me. I really believed that at the time and continue believing it. I have always been successful doing things that I really believe in and passionate about. And I have had many difficulties in the past, and I was able to overcome these. So that means this one, even if it will be challenging, I feel like I can overcome this, right? So this is, I was gathering evidence basically for my decision of choosing to leave the humanitarian sector. And this you can do with any other decisions that you are struggling with, or you are struggling believing something will work. You can gather evidence from the past as to how you are already capable of doing that. And then what I do this afterwards is when I start writing a lot about all of those evidences, then I also check with myself, okay, how do I feel now? Right? If I feel like warm, yesterday I was doing this exercise actually with myself, and then I felt like I was so warm inside that I felt like, okay, this is a good sign. But if I feel it's still like constraining or not really like truthful or not really believing, then I may continue doing it regularly to find evidence for how I can make this work or that other thing work. So that's how I like to journal regularly as well. And the fourth one is the one that I really wanted to suggest to everyone, my humanitarian who's listening to me, is the seeking my own answers journaling. And I really think this would be like fantastic prompt for you to journal about, and like whatever the question that your brain comes up with, start journaling about it. So whatever the question is, if the question is like, do I want to leave? Do I want to stay? What is my real answer? How will I make this work? Will this even work? When all of these questions come up, a beautiful way to journal is, what is my answer to that question, right? So I usually, like, whenever I think of these questions, I always ask myself, okay, how do I feel about this question? Or how do I feel being where I am now? How do I feel going to where I want to be? So I really like my feelings guide me to making decisions. Of course, the rational part always come along, right? So I always ask myself, okay, if I followed my heart, what would it say? If I followed my brain, what would it say? Right? So I just have a lot of other like additional questions, and then I start writing my answers to those questions. And then one of the things, like if it gets a bit jumbled, I feel, then one of the things I may ask myself, I may even write it and saying, if I wasn't afraid of it not working out, what would I actually do? Right? And this all oftentimes clarify things for me. So whenever I was making decision of leaving or not the humanitarian world, I asked myself this question, okay, if I were to ask myself one question to clarify everything, what would that be? And the question that came up at the time is, do I really see myself doing this humanitarian work long term? And if the answer is no, then I will decide to make this other alternative work, right? And that's what exactly happened. I actually made the alternative journey of becoming life coach happened. And that's why, like, whenever we start answering our questions, excuse me, there might be more questions coming up, and you keep answering the question in question until you feel this like relief, or that you feel this, I have all the answers. And then if you're still not satisfied, you can say, okay, what is one thing that I can ask that clarify all of these things? And then you may ask yourself whatever the question, and then the answers to that question will clarify for you. If it doesn't, it's fine. So you have these answers for now, and later you may have other answers, right? So therefore, don't be hard on yourself. The goal is really getting getting out all of the things onto paper to emptying your chest, and afterwards you can burn it if you want to. You can keep it, whichever the way, and then really sorting things out for yourself, right? What is what, and then getting curious and taking charge over how they're impacting your life, how they're affecting your behavior, what actions are you taking, not taking, what results are you creating, not creating, and then do you like that? And if you don't, then what are you going to do about it, right? So this is really the exercise, the purpose of journaling the way that I like to do. And of course, adding any gratitude, any other things that you're proud of, adding that to your journaling exercise is an amazing way of also recognizing yourself. What are the things you're doing? How are you doing it? How are you doing your best? And that will make you feel better, and your brain will like it, and you keep doing it more of those things. So my dears, I hope I have given you all the different ways that you can journal. I have given you some samples here, and it's totally up to you how you want to do that. But I really love this journaling that is like essential part of my life and has been for so long. And that's why I really hope that you can make use of it as much as I do. And um, let me stop it. Yes. And I would love to invite you to coach with me to get your answers sorted, to give yourself answers, and as well as making decisions around what you have noticed from your own patterns, from your own journaling. And I would love to help you transition to the life that you really love living. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll talk to you very soon.